Hello, my name is Jenna,
My name is Julie.
and today we'll be talking about the technology standards for students and teachers. I will be talking about the standards for teachers.
And I will be talking about the standards for students.
Okay, so the first standard for teachers is to facilitate and inspire student learning and creativity. So this would be implemented when a teacher uses technology to enhance the lesson. For example, in my classroom, they use a smartboard to learn the sight words. So they will use a matching game, and the students will come up and the teacher will teach them the sight words, and then they will match the pictures with the words that they learn.
I've seen a lot of matching games as well, like on like the Promethean boards and smart boards. And in my placement, we had created a game, and my placement teacher had all the students come up and they each got to match the different math problems together. So that was pretty cool to see that. The first standard for students is creativity and innovation with technology. So that's basically shown through not simply just making like a Word document or like drawing a picture with paint. It's showing them the different ways that they can come up with things. And like, for example, I saw, again, in my placement, I saw an assignment where they had to each create like a fruit, like an apple, for example, and they had to use an app to make the apple without just like drawing with their fingers. So like sometimes they got to do clip art, and they got to pull a bunch of different red pictures together, or they could use like their finger and use different apps and different textures. So it's just getting them to think outside the box.
Yeah, that's interesting that you can have like the same resource but have so many different outcomes. The second technology standard for the teacher is to design and develop digital age learning experience and assessment. So this could be using an iPad to have the summative assessment. So the students will be using the app to show what they know, and then the teacher can easily just go around and check them, and the students don't even know that they're being tested because it's like just a game to them.
Exactly. And iPads have become so prominent in our schools nowadays, especially because a lot of students need those to like communicate and express how they're feeling, which is the second standard for students is communication and collaboration. So again, like I said, some students need iPads to speak for them because they have trouble speaking orally or expressing their thoughts. So something I've seen at a camp I work at is students can't physically say how they feel, so they get to pick an emoji, and the emoji represents how they're feeling about something or like how they're feeling inside, and they don't want to say it. So with the iPad, it's like teaching them how to do that in a very simple way.
Yeah, that's really cool because my brother actually has autism and he uses the iPad for the lamp app, and he can say what he wants by clicking the pictures, and it makes communication so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
So the third teacher standard is model digital age work and learning. So this is important because if you don't expose the students to the technology, they probably won't ever be exposed to it because sometimes school is like the only way that they get the technology. So this was used in my placement because my teacher like shows the iPad and how to use it before that she lets them use it on their own. So then they have an idea of what to do when they have their own iPod.
That's very true, because sometimes the students will take it and then they may break it. Hopefully they don't, but they may break it or they may do something wrong and then they don't get the points for the assignment or they don't learn the new skill that they were trying to learn. Next standard is research and information fluency. So that's based and through technology. So again, that's basically teaching the students how to properly use the technology to get the information they need. So again, like showing them this is how you need to do this, or here's some ways that you can do this, so that way they are furthering their education without struggling along the way, because then that just makes them frustrated, and then that doesn't necessarily lead to a good outcome.
Yeah, so it's super important for the teacher to be like supervising their way that they use iPads and the technology, so then that they don't get frustrated and they do know how to use these things when they do have to do it by themselves.
Yeah.
My fourth standard is to promote and model digital citizenship and responsibility, which kind of goes along with your last one. And so to use the technology in the classroom, the teacher should be aware that it's going to be dangerous at some point. So like my mentor teacher in the first day was like, we're going to use iPads in the class, but here's some conditions. You can't go on any site that like we don't tell you to go on, and you can not go, like you have to walk with the iPad with both hands, and like just safety conditions that like are really important for the students to use iPads placing it in there.
Exactly, especially because a lot of the websites they need to be on, well, a lot of them are restricted, but some of them aren't. For example, like I think Facebook has lost its restriction and a lot of students know how to use Facebook now. So it's very important to make sure that you're either walking around or sitting with them while they're using the technology. So again, so they don't break it and so that they're using it for the right reasons. And then my next standard is critical thinking and problem solving. So this is teaching students to take what they already do know, example like for the iPad, like we've been saying, and to show them how to problem solve by using this technology. So this mostly talks about like planning and processing. So if, for example, if you're doing a math problem on there, and let's say you've never used an iPad before, you can look at the math problem and say, okay, well, I know how to do this math problem, but how can I incorporate it like on this iPad, and how can I show what I know? So it's just coming up with different ways to make sure that they're using their thinking and showing that through what they're doing in the classroom.
Yeah, that's really important that they know how to do like different resources when they learn how to do something, so they can't just do it on pen and paper. They can actually do it on the computer as well, because a lot of tests these days are actually like being on the computer, and some kids don't have that at their own home and they have to learn how to do it at school.
Mm-hmm.
So my fifth and final teacher standard is to engage in professional growth and leadership. And this standard basically states that teachers should always be learning and being up to date on their technology like awareness. So like my placement teacher right now is still in classes, and she's been like taking extra classes just so she can like keep learning throughout her life. And she also has a smartboard and computers and iPads and all this technology accessible in her classroom. So the students are exposed to all these, and the teacher is able to help them when they do need to use them because they do know how to use them as well.
Exactly. And so like in a way you're kind of learning with the teacher, or the teacher is learning with the students, because my mentor teacher is doing the same thing. Like she is taking 4 classes at Salisbury because she is not really tech savvy. So she's still learning how to use all these programs, and then she uses them in a lesson and then is teaching the students how to use them as well. So it's very important to keep up with the times and like make sure you can incorporate with the technology, since technology has become so important nowadays in education. That actually leads to my next standard, which is digital citizenship. So that's like basically saying that the students need to demonstrate their responsibility and their goals in the classroom, and also kind of like show this, like not just necessarily through technology, but like just in general in the classroom. Like it's important that they play their part and they show that they're responsible and they show that they know what they're doing and being respectful in the classrooms. Like just like you said with breaking things and making sure you're holding an iPad with 2 hands, like it's your responsibility to make sure you take care of that iPad.
Yeah, it's like really important for the students to know that this is a privilege to like be able to use these technology like sources that we have, and that if they do misuse these, then they will get taken away or they don't get to use them. And it's like really important to teach the kids that they should respect everything, like technology, your teachers, etc.
Yeah, especially because not every school has iPads or has access to this technology, and they're still using old school ways of learning, which is fine, but they don't get those privileges. So those students who do, definitely be thankful for it. And then my final standard is technology operations and concepts. So this one is talking about kind of a similar thing, like they understand how to use this technology and that they can transfer things that they know, and they can transfer the things that they know into the new technology that they are learning right now. So it says like select and use applications effectively. So that means that they're like picking and choosing things that are developmentally appropriate and that are also going to challenge them. And I think that that's kind of a hard thing for them to choose sometimes, because they won't necessarily choose the thing that's hard. In my experience, they choose the thing that they know how to do, and that's easy, which is good, but then they're not exactly challenging themselves. So like I've seen in my placement, my mentor teacher would take the iPad and it was on like a special lock, so only she could pick and choose the apps on there. And she made sure that she picked apps for certain groups that were challenging for them as well, but other apps that were like, okay, this is what you're comfortable with, this is what you know, so you can always go back and forth with that. And that way they're still understanding how to use them.
Yeah, that's really cool that the teacher has that lock, because in my class, she uses the Starfall app, and it's like they get harder as the like levels go up. So a lot of students give up and just like change which one they want to do, and like say easy, but she's like being able to lock it would be able to like they would pick and challenge themselves and they would move a lot smoother. It's a really good technique.
Yeah. Well, that was my last standard.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your standards.
Thanks for sharing yours.
I'll see you next time.
Bye.